Next lesson on the Persian Empire. After Cyrus has conquered the Medes, he conquers the Neo-Babylonian Empire in 539 BC. So then about the conquest, analyse the events, loads of keywords: betrayal and treachery, you know what that means. Nabonidus Chronicle, that's the name of the last Babylonian king, Nabonidus. Cyrus Cylinder, it's a British Museum, that's what it is. Propaganda, Marduk, God, Ahura Mazda, and a god, cuneiform for writing. Divinely appointed, God gave the job. Jews, Jerusalem, Messiah. Tolerance and bias. Tolerance, if you let people live the way they want to live, you are tolerant. Bias, you know what that means, you're biased in favour of one side or the other. So, quick quiz here on the previous lesson on the conquest of the Lydian Empire. Read the questions, if you know the answers, you know where to look. So, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, one of the empires that conquered the Assyrian Empire 100 or so years earlier. You can see it covers what we today call Iraq, Syria, Israel, places like that, just here. Not big, but not as big as the Persian Empire, however, very rich, because it controls Mesopotamia, land between the rivers where all the wealth is gained through farming. Its empire spread throughout the empire, mostly under its great king Nebuchadnezzar, who conquered places like Israel. Right, the facts. 539 BC, we don't know much about this historically. 539 BC, Cyrus attacks the Persian Empire. He fights a battle at a place called Opis that he wins, and then he advances on the capital city of Babylon. Yeah, captures Babylon essentially without a fight. And Herodotus says, well, the Babylonians had withdrawn into their great city with huge walls around it, 15 miles of walls. They prepared for a massive siege, and the stage was set for a big battle. Yeah. Persia, the Babylonian king, Nabonidus, was in there. It was all good to go. But Cyrus realised the weak point was the river, so he sent some men in. They snuck up the river course, got in, opened the gates, almost no fighting. Persians pour in and take over. Yeah, not sure that's really true. Probably more likely somebody inside the city opened the gates to avoid the siege. Somebody betrayed them. So, Nabonidus was the final king of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, and we found these things here. They're called the Nabonidus Chronicle. Now, you'd think from the name they were written by him or about him under his auspices. But they're not. They're written later. They're written when Cyrus becomes king. So they're very biased against Nabonidus. And these chronicles say, when the city fell, Cyrus was welcomed. There was peace in the city while Cyrus spoke his greeting. Yeah? So this chronicle, this primary evidence we have about this, is quite biased in favour of Cyrus. It talks about what a terrible king Nabonidus had been, mostly because he had neglected the worship of the great god Marduk, the main temple in Babylon. Another piece of evidence is called the Cyrus Cylinder. We're going to see it when we go to the British Museum. Here it is. It was found in the foundations of a great building. It's written in cuneiform, as you can see. And again, it talks about how Cyrus took over the city easily because Marduk, the great god, wanted him to. Marduk examined all the countries and searched for a ruler who suited his heart. He took Cyrus, king of Persia, by the hand, proclaimed his nomination, called his name for the lordship of the whole world. That's part of what that says, saying, look, this bloke Cyrus, the great god Marduk has chosen him. Now remember, the Persians don't worship Marduk. They've got a separate god, Ahura Mazda. But here we go, in the Cyrus cylinder saying, no, Marduk chose Cyrus. Cyrus is also mentioned in the Bible, the Old Testament, because when the Babylonians had conquered their empire, Nebuchadnezzar had conquered Jerusalem. He'd conquered the Jews. He'd taken thousands of Jews to Babylon to be his slaves. He'd taken particularly the educated ones, the elite. And Cyrus freed them and sent them back home and paid for the temple to be rebuilt in Jerusalem, for which he's very famous in Jewish history. He's called the Liberator. He's called the Messiah because he saved the Jews. Right, so and for assessment, we'll talk about this. How far are the actions of Cyrus based on his true, tolerant personality? Cyrus seems a great liberator, treating people very fairly. Is that true, or is it just politics?